Hello and welcome to Today in the News on Vanguard Live. I am Precious Chukudi. Of course, happy holidays to our Muslim brothers and sisters. But then again, it's another time for, the office people to rest again today, thanks to our Muslim brothers and sisters. Let's take a look at the front pages of the papers this morning, starting off with Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with 400 billion naira goods brought away over demurrage, shipping costs. The writers say shippers blame manual inspection. Foreign shipping firms, terminal operators slam 60 billion naira charges. Importers abandon 7,000 containers as backdoor cargo releases strive. Export cargoes perish at the terminals. We're ready to deploy scanners soon. That's coming from Custom. Also, we can see an infographic showing a container cargo arrive at Apapa Port. That's for the month of September 2022. On page 9, NAFDAC raises alarm over cough syrup as 66 children die in the Gambia. Still on page 9, I was a victim of corruption fighting back. That's coming from Mago, ex-EFCC chairman. A PDP crisis. Atiku has moved on without Wike. Others. That's coming from PCC SOURCE. Gunmen attack police station, kill cop. Others in Enugu. 11 die, 6 injured in Plateau. Niger auto crashes. On page 13, we have 389 police officers die in Borno fighting Boko Haram. That's coming from police. Stories above. Issues in 2023 election. How great leaders can emerge through credible elections. That's by Mike in Guinea. You can see more on that interview on page 24. Omehia, Wike displaying punitive arrogance. That's coming from Tonye Cole. Omehia didn't beg or force Wike for recognition. That's coming from PDP chieftain. Oil theft, 42 more tapping points uncovered in Delta Bayelsa. Budget 2023. Bonny light price hit $99.25 per barrel. Expert divided over benchmark. All right, let's take a look at The Nation newspaper. The Nation is leading with Wike Makinde autumn to Sean Atiku campaign launch. You can't intimidate me, Benue governor tells IU. Party chair not neutral. You can see a photo story showing the 5 million man walk. Lagos rises for Tinubu Shetima Sanwo-Olu. Stories above rising deficit. Low revenue raise concerns over 2023 budget. Floods wash away a $15 million rice farm. Community submerged. You can see that on page 2. Union set for battle over plan to privatize TCN by government. Why 30% of prison inmates should be freed by Aregbesola. Last year on the front page of The Nation, price crisis worsen inflation. Rate soars to 21%. All right, let's take a look at The Guardian. The Guardian is leading with World Mental Health Day. Why over 50 million Nigerians are mentally ill by psychiatrists. The writer says about 75% of those who need mental health care lack access. Nigeria has only 300 psychiatrists to treat over 200 million people. Africa has one psychiatrist for every 500,000 inhabitants, 100 times less than WHO recommendation. Stigmatization, major challenge to accessing healthcare, says Adesoku. Jehovah's Witness marks a global mental health day. WHO rolls out measures to reverse suicide, mental health crisis in Africa. Also, stories below, we have Dogara Lawal in talks with Muslim political leaders to stop APC single faith ticket. Tompolo's outfit uncovers new oil theft spots. CDS, Kiari vows full investigation. Stories above. Subscribers kick as telecom operators slam tariff hike on data services. UK task federal government on economic policies. Retention of foreign investment. CBN lending to commercial banks declines by 350 billion naira. Last year on the front page of The Guardian, federal state housing agencies idle as ministry takeover project. You can see that on page 27. All right, let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. The Punch is leading with a 2023 budget. Federal government plans a 1.35 trillion naira war chest against Boko Haram bandits. The writer says to acquire fighter jets, ammunitions, budgets 1 billion naira for terrorist persecution. IG embarks on road patrol in northern states, promises adequate security. NDLEA seizes 1 billion naira tramadol at Lagos airport. Hoodlums rape Kwara varsity students arrested with 87 phones. On page 4, internet fraudsters contact Facebook herbalists, dismember man for ritual. Also, you can see the pro-Tinubu rally grounds Lagos, APC excited, stories above. Federal government borrowed 22 trillion naira, foreign education gulped to $609 million. That's coming from a report from CBN. Muslim aggrieved APC Christians to dump Tinubu Shetima. You can see that on page 25. Controversy surround alleged release of 101 Boko Haram terrorists. Presidency, Atiku, governors IU begin campaign in Uyo today. On page 31, forex scarcity hits gas suppliers, price hike imminent. Dangote shareholders knock Kogi, group alleges exploitation. All right, so that's about all we can take on the front pages of the papers. Join us after the break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us today in the news on Vanguard Live, I am Precious Chukudi. Joining me to talk about some of the stories on the front pages of the papers this morning is Mr. Ali Mohammed, the CEO of Magnet Communications, also former editor of Daily Times and Concord newspapers. Good morning, sir. Happy holidays. How you enjoying it?
Happy holidays to you. I'm here.
Yeah, you are here.
It's part of the enjoyment.
All right, let's start off with some of our stories this morning, and we'll be looking at this one. That's now, according to a report by Vanguard, we learned that there are over 7,000 abandoned containers due to rising cost of clearing, associated with corruption and exchange rates volatility in the ports. What exactly are your thoughts on this one?
Well, it should be expected if you look at the multiple kind of taxation apart from the duty fees paid on imported goods at the Apapa ports and other ports in Nigeria, you should expect this kind of crisis. Let's start with the customs. Because of the prevalence of the importation of arms and ammunition, drugs and all other terrible things into the country, they have decided to carry out physical examination of all imported goods, which I support. But the problem again is some of the custom officers are terribly corrupt. When I say that, I know what I'm saying. Terribly corrupt in the sense that even after physical inspection, they expect importers to grease their palms. They want to collect some extra money. Then you have multiple government agencies at the ports. You have the quarantine, the police, what have you, all sorts of government agencies waiting to collect money from importers. It makes it difficult for goods to be cleared in record time. As a result, you have some importers who just get fed up when they receive the bills that they have to pay for clearing, almost equivalent of the cost of the goods you are clearing. They will simply abandon those things. Some of them don't probably have budgeted a particular amount of money, but when their goods get to Nigeria and they find out that they are going to pay 500 to 700% of what they budgeted, they will simply abandon. So it has become a problem, not only for the customs, but for the economy of Nigeria. Those are things that should have come out of the warehouse at a good time, it will be sold, and whatever comes out of it is supposed to be part of the contribution of those importers to the growth of the economy. And indirectly, all these problems created at the ports are affecting the economy of the country. People prefer to now go through Republic of Benin and bring in their goods. Some people prefer to use Niger ports and bring in their goods through the north, where the activities, the kind of activities that we have at the Lagos ports is not that clumsy. So as a result, it's number one, the government is going to suffer revenue losses, because those who are coming in through illegal borders will not pay anything, not even the duty. All they need to do is to graze the palms of a few officers, and their goods are here. You will wonder how somebody imported cartons of tramadol, which the NDLEA recently discovered, into Nigeria without all these agencies taking note or arresting. That is because it came in through illegal borders. And there will be no checking, there will be no duty. You can imagine the loss of revenue which the government is suffering. The earlier the government take a position on this, the better for the economy.
All right, let's take a look at some of these charges that, these freight forwarders face. Now, according to this report, now they're saying that the shipping firm collects about 20,000 naira per day for a container, while the same container attracts a fee of 12,000 naira per day.
That's a fact.
And now another, you mentioned something about you being in support of that is customs actually doing physical scanning rather than the digitalized scanner, and of which some of these people feel like this would help to inspect the cargoes faster than when he has to go through the customs. Also, the clearing process is the fact that they have to part away with obviously money for the human interference at different points. Exactly. How else do you think that the government can actually step into the situation? Because then, if we are seeing that according to the report that we have about like 400 billion goods rotting away over there, what exactly should the government be doing?
See, at this stage, I think the EFCC should be involved. Yes, I mean, you need to go to a Apapa port and see the kind of corruption going on there. Physical inspection of any good or goods doesn't take much time. Even if you insist that you want to inspect with machines, fine. It should be faster than the physical inspection. Then you now sit down and wonder what the delays could be.
But they're not even using that there because they said they don't have, the technical know-how to be able to operate. That's
because they got used to physical inspection, and they brought in new machines to scan containers. And I wonder how government can bring in new machines without training the operators of those machines. It's not possible. They won't make a sensible and proper use of those machines in the first place. So since they don't understand how to use the machines, they resorted to their old way of physical inspection. If physical inspection is done in record time, there won't be delays. But you have other agencies that will insist on physical inspection after the customs. You have the quarantine, for instance, the police. I wonder what the police is doing at the ports. And so many other agencies. There are so much at the ports that you get frustrated if you choose to import things into Nigeria. Like I said, I have had an experience. And at the end of the day, whatever goods that you are importing will be delayed. You are paying demurrage on the goods. You are paying for the container used to import the goods. At the end of the day, if you sit down and calculate your demurrage for the number of days your good, that you want to abandon it, because you are not going to make profit from whatever you have done. And that is why, like I said, the EFCC should come in and check the fraudulent practices going on at the ports. But if they must do their work, they must do their work properly. I mean the EFCC, not that they will go there and join the multiple government organizations delaying the clearing of goods at the ports. If going through the ports, either you are exporting or you are importing, it is tough. These agencies are not making business easy. If you want to do business at the port, you must separate a week, 1 week, because there are days you will go and you won't achieve anything because of these layers of protocols, government agencies looking for money. You have area boys. Even when your goods are cleared and you are coming out of the port, you could stay for 3-4 days. It doesn't make sense. Your goods have been cleared. Then it will take you 3 to 4 days for them to come out.
That's a serious problem.
Yeah, it's a major problem. Government should step in and look at ways to get things done with ease anytime you get to import things into Nigeria.
All right, let's move ahead and talk about, the PDP crisis. Now, there are reports that, calls by the Wike team, calls by the Wike team for the resignation of Dr. Ayu has been jettisoned, and, as Atiku has said, to move on with or without Wike. Of course, even today is their starting of their campaign in Uyo today, and, he has said, what do you think about this? It's
a good step because, you see, there are times you just go ahead and take your decisions, either anybody likes it or not. Yeah, but because there have been so much attempt to reconcile factions within the PDP, but unfortunately, nothing positive has been achieved. As a man, you don't have to be delayed because some people don't like what you are doing, or some people feel that what you are doing should be done the other way. And so I want to commend Alhaji Abubakar for taking a decision. There are times that you have to take very tough decisions. It will be worse if you cannot take decisions at all because you must please people. You don't take decisions because you must please people. You take decisions because you must move on. The Atiku cannot afford to remain in one place because some people don't like what is going on within the party. Like I said, I believe in compromises. In resolving issues. If you want to stick to your position and you think you are fighting, you are not a good fighter. There are times you beat a retreat and come back with strategies. But I don't think the Wike factions, the Wike faction has learned that. So I commend the fact that Alhaji Atiku has moved forward, and let's wish him well as he commences the campaigns today.
All right. So according to police, they said that about 389 police officers have died fighting Boko Haram terrorists for the past 389.
That's quite a low figure. I expect that the figures should be higher considering the volume of attacks on police stations, on police, on at various checkpoints in the north.
Yeah, so my question exactly is, I mean, we keep, every time when we get to, see stories on insecurity, there's always assurances that, oh, we are going to do this about insecurity. But what exactly is the problem?
The problem why we continue to have banditry and other terrible attacks on the people and on states within Nigeria is because these bandits, terrorists, or Boko Haram members have been treated with kid gloves. All over. It is only in Nigeria that I hear that people are negotiating with bandits. They take out bandits outrightly once they are identified. Look at Osama bin Laden. It took American years to track him, and they eventually took him out when he least expected. You don't look at they set up a federal government delegation to negotiate the release of the remaining trained victims that were taken away by these bandits. Well, that is the Nigerian approach to it. But in other crimes, those bandits will be dead by now, no matter what it takes. The problem with impunity, which is here to stay with us, is that it breeds all sorts of evils in the society. Banditry, Boko Haram attacks, and all sorts of nonsense. Because in the past, if the government had started by ensuring that those bandits that started this crisis were taken out, we won't have frequent occurrences. Everybody will stay back. We bought 12 Super Tucanos, and the US gave us a condition that if we must use those Super Tucanos, we must declare the so-called bandits as terrorists. There was a law that was promulgated by the National Assembly and signed by the president to declare these people terrorists. And it was only of late that I saw government putting those Super Tucanos to use after the Katsina attack. And when the Tucanos were put to use, a lot of these bandits were neutralized. A lot of them were killed. And it has drastically reduced the volume of attacks in the north now. But my question is it good that the government has been so lenient or treating these people with kid gloves until the convoy of the president was attacked in Katsina? Is it right? No. You see, you don't treat criminals with kid gloves. It creates an impression that government is part of that criminal activities. Like Abacha said, that when you have terrorism lasting for more than 48 hours, government must have a hand in it. That is the impression that almost all Nigerians have now because of the lack of will on the part of government to completely descend on these terrorists and get them off all these areas where they are killing people.
Do you think that our intelligence gathering is, poorly acted upon, or is as good as nothing?
It's not there at all, because we've seen soldiers giving information from the country to terrorists. They arrested a soldier that was taking arms, federal government arms, to terrorists this weekend. He is attached to Muhammadu Buhari barracks in Abuja. We still have this system of gathering intelligence physically. No. There are drones in some parts of the world that you can use to gather intelligence. And in fact, you deploy drones to drop bombs in targeted areas now. I believe that we should get to that level as a nation. I read the budget by the government for equipment to fight Boko Haram. I hope we will have the will and the willpower to deploy whatever equipment we are going to buy to full use, to ensure that this problem of insecurity is totally resolved. People can't get out of wherever they live. I have not been able to go to my home state in Edo for some months. It is not good for the psyche of the people that you are governing.
Also, do you think that maybe our real problem too could also be the leadership of, our security agencies?
You see, the leadership has its own problem, because you must sit down and come up with strategies. Your strategies must include information gathering, deployment of whatever equipment that you have. You must be willing to deploy those equipments to full use. Like I said, the Super Tucanos 12 were bought. In all countries where those Tucanos were deployed to combat crime, they were able to resolve criminal activities in those areas successfully, except Nigeria, because the government is reluctant to fully deploy the equipment to full use. Why then did you buy it? Why then did you spend thousands or millions of dollars to buy it? So the government must first and foremost have the willpower and make up its mind that we want to stop banditry in Nigeria. We want to stop kidnapping in Nigeria. We want to stop the activities of Boko Haram in Nigeria, and then we can move forward from there.
All right, let's take Mr. and Mrs. before we go. Mrs. is speaking. She says, I know it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I also know that experts say men should suck a breast this month, their wife's breast. And Mr. replies and says, but that's not fair. We can't abandon unmarried women just like that. Prevention is better than cure.
I have no comment on that.
Well, Mr. Ali says he doesn't have any comment on this one.
Okay. We are on the live program here.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ali Mohammed, CEO of Magnet Communications, also for my editor of Daily Times and Concord Newspaper. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us this morning.
You're most welcome.
Also, remember that you can equally like and share on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. You can go to our website, www.vanguardndr.com, to find out more. I am Precious Chukudi. Do enjoy your holiday and see you tomorrow.